In a previous video, we discussed effective relational communication practices as a member of a small group. In this video, I want to talk about three ineffective relational communication practices. So three communication practices that we often do or participate in groups that are not very helpful for that group. Those three are what are called destructive criticism, flight, and communicative narcissism. I'll start with communicative narcissism. This is my phrase for someone that only talks about themselves and what's important to them. So oftentimes in any group situation, we'll have someone that shares too much, or is, I think the word is oversharer. This kind of person that overshares about their own personal life is a communicative narcissist. They're only interested in the expression of their own opinion. It might not just be personal opinion, it could also be rational, but it's the same. It's my perspective is this, and that person wants to continuously and ceaselessly articulate their own position or their own interests or their own understanding of something. The communicative narcissist does not make for a good small communication practitioner because they never focus on the others or the others' needs in the group, which undermines the effectivity of the group. Second, flight. Flight behavior is the kinds of practice, they're kinds of negative communication practices in which someone opts out of the group process. Flight literally means to go away from whatever group process is happening. Flight can come in any one of a number of different kind of flavors. There's what's called social loafing. Social loafing is when there's a group of like 20 or so people and I don't pay very much attention, I don't try very hard because I assume everyone else is going to pick up the slack and do something or try hard. Social loafing is a form of flight, but avoiding confrontation is a form of flight. Keeping to yourself, remaining quiet is a form of flight. What's called stonewalling is a form of flight. Stonewalling is when I really have information that's important, I have an opinion, I have something to say, but I keep it to myself. I don't express it to the group. That's also a form of flight. So a flight behavior is any communicative practice that takes you further from the decision-making or communicative work of the group. It works in the opposite direction, in other words. The third ineffective relational communication practice is destructive criticism. We know fairly clearly that destructive criticism erodes relational harmony. It is the number one most destructive factor in any kind of relationship. And if we're going to be undermining the relationships of a group, the best way to do it is with destructive criticism. Destructive criticism is the kind of communication that focuses on the character of the person and not the content of what they've had to say. So let's say I'm working with someone who has said that, oh, they don't really have the information for that day. And I say to them, well, you're just a lazy person. You're really lazy. That's destructive criticism. I'm criticizing the character of the person. Instead of saying, well, it's really unfortunate, that would have been really valuable information to have today, I take that to another level and criticize the person. Someone that attacks other people is not going to make a good group member because they're going to undermine relational harmony. All three of these practices, flight behavior, communicative narcissism, and destructive criticism, undermine relational harmony and therefore undermine the functionality of the group.